Hi, friends and family, and welcome back to Pam and Loki on the Purple Couch.
It's still just us, I suppose.
Yes, just for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So today we're going to talk about our masking. That was
Yeah.
the masking is the summary of today's show.
Yeah.
So we were really going to go into you and your alternate persona that you've got and how other autistic kids also have these personas. And I don't even just want to say kids, because young adults now, your entire group that you've got all have kind of alter personas online versus in real.
I would say that they're not really alter personas, more so just the way we want to represent ourselves in our own little community, I suppose.
Okay.
And this could be like towards like various other things, like trying to think of a way to say this, like people just get commissions from artists to draw their character, and that character is what they see in themselves.
Oh, very nice. So
their avatar.
Basically.
Yes.
Okay. So like even in our spiritual community, when we talk about this body being an avatar for our soul, you're now coming up and doubling down by creating an avatar.
Yeah, other people
in your social media world.
Yeah, but it's usually called personas because I'm not one to actually talk about the logistics of internet lingo or such like that, but I assume sona is a word for like persona, but it's not an alternate persona. It's more so a character, again, that's meant to represent you. And sometimes people have just different versions of that same thing, but it still represents them in some way.
Okay, so I want to go back a couple years. I want to go back during COVID.
Yes.
Okay, so nationwide, worldwide, everyone knows that people were wearing masks.
Yeah.
You know, some places it was mandatory. It was state mandatory. You know, the police are, you need to put a mask on. You can't come out of your house. We were blessed to be in the Wild West here in Florida.
Yeah.
Okay. So we had a little less limitations than other people across the world. So the reason I bring COVID up is because COVID gave you an excuse to bring your persona.
Well, it wasn't even before that. It was like just
you wore when we went out for our mini vacation, you took your mask.
Yeah, this mask that was used.
Your plague mask.
Yeah, this mask that was used in Halloween of 2016, if I remember the correct date.
Because see, I love it.
It was a character with a green plague mask, and we custom made this one by using this and just putting white and green glow in the dark spray paint over it. And I sort of made this whole like persona thing whenever I just want to do a video call without actually showing my face, because I was still kind of sensitive about it. So all I literally did was just open it up and then I just decided to wear this. And to be honest, it doesn't really fit me anymore. The thing that held it like through the like a comforting thing. As in a literal comforting thing.
Yeah, like the little foam pad?
Yeah, the foam pad is very much gone at this point. And honestly, for around, like, since it's been, like, 8 years. Actually, no, it's not been 8 years.
Well, we're in 2025, and if it was 2016, it would have been 9 years ago. I know. Microphone drop on that one.
Well, anyways.
But I want to go back to something that you said.
Mm-hmm.
You said that you started wearing the mask when you were doing your video calls with your friends.
Yes.
And you said something that I want to pick up on because it made you feel more comfortable, because you still weren't comfortable in those video calls with your friends. Now, these are still your online community of friends that you've had, these same people in your life 4 or 5 years, if we're going to go back to 2016.
Sometimes it changes, but yes, I understand what you mean by that.
So, but even in that area, in that realm, you were uncomfortable with face-to-face communication.
Yes, because it's still sort of a stranger danger sort of thing. So I want to just do that as a gag, a goof sometimes. And not even like, I wasn't even doing it all the time, but sort of that whole like green plague mask thing just sort of became like something I just liked doing. It was something that I did once and I was like, you know what, maybe I'll do it again. Just for the sake of it.
You took that to another level though, because even when we went on vacation, you would wear your plague mask instead of a regular mask during COVID
No,
time.
I still wore a regular mask.
Yes, but when we went out in public, if you could get away with it, you would wear your mask.
Yeah, because it's funny.
Okay. Now, what about all of the walks to the avenues with your mask on?
again, that still seems pretty funny because you just see a guy wearing a plague mask outside. Just generally, I'm like, "Ew, what the hell is that guy doing?" And I'm just saying, like, I'm just doing it for funnies. Like,
Okay.
if somebody could get like a little bit of a smile out of me having a plague mask on in the middle of the day, that means it's a little bit worth it. I'd say, because as much as I'm getting enjoyment out of it myself, other people may seem weird, but I don't want to say I'm living my own life or something like that, because that sounds really fucking
But
corny.
it's so important because you're not the only one. I have seen other high functioning, older young adults that are on the social media platforms, and they like to dress up in character too.
Yeah.
You know, I know we had the whole episode about dressing up, you
Yeah.
know, whether you're into cosplay as an adult or young adult, or even the Comic-Cons and things along those lines.
Hell, even furries do that too.
Yes.
Because that's like their persona. That's
Okay.
how they see themselves, and they dress up as themselves. That's just...
So I want to go a little deeper though, because we've talked about, and the reason I'm bringing this to the podcast like we've talked about it beforehand, was because there's so many parents that don't have the communication like you and I do.
Mm-hmm.
And their young adult goes upstairs, put the headphones on, and the parents don't see them for 4 to 5 hours. They don't engage. They don't know what's going on. You know,
Yeah.
You and I have had that open communication. So can you help explain to some of our families that are watching, just like what you said, is that though other people may look at you and be like, well, why do you have that costume on? Why do you have that mask on? Why? It really doesn't matter as long as you are enjoying
having
it.
fun, yeah.
And you're trying to bring joy to somebody else. That's what I heard you say. And that as a mom just makes me feel wonderful, because you're like, well, and if somebody else sees me in downtown and I have a plague mask on.
It's a mix between having fun, and it's just sort of like a comfort thing if you like having that represent yourself, I'd say.
Now, I'm going to ask you a hard question.
Yeah.
Can you be as goofy and as funny without the mask?
I'd say I'd still be able to do it with my voice, even like that's like sort of what I do most of the dang time without doing video calls still on Discord. I still do the same thing with my voice, because I'm still representing myself with my soda, because my friends know me as that Sona because it's fun.
Okay.
But in a public space where I don't have any of that, I'd say it looks a little bit more strange, to say the least. But I know when it's times to just sort of fit in with the norm.
Okay. And that right there, that is what this entire show is about. So many times our population, and I say this because we look at children that are neurodivergent. We look at children that have ADHD, ASD, ODD, you know, that whole alphabet soup we talk about.
Yeah.
And we fixate on these guys have this alternate persona. These guys aren't being themselves, but it's not just your demographic. I think this is worldwide, human-wide. So many times, and I think social media has a lot to do with it, is everyone can hide behind their phone, their computer, their conversations.
And be themselves.
But are they being themselves, or are they being what they think people want them to be?
Well, that's more so a more philosophical question that makes it seem like... Hold on, rephrasing my words here. That is a question that's more so intertwined with the person rather than someone asking the question in the first place, because they have to be honest with themselves to make that decision in the first place if they are actually,
hiding.
Yes.
So, because we're talking about masking, people that are on the spectrum mask when they need to stim.
Yes.
They feel socially awkward.
Mm-hmm.
Same way with, just like you said, with really being yourself.
It's hard. It's hard, socially interacting. Yeah, I mean, I'll say that, and it's hard doing that in real life. It's amped up to 10 when it's in real life, actually.
So do you think that when you put the mask on, it gives you a sense of protection where you can really be goofy and...
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
But I don't think that applies to everybody.
Okay. No, I'm not asking. I just want to know from your perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So we have got a collection of masks. Do you want to show our viewers your collection here?
Yeah, well, I already showed this one from Halloween.
All right, well, I'll set them over here if you like. So this was your original plague mask, and you brought this one in to see this is what it originally looked like, and then this is what you created for cosplay, correct?
Yeah.
And then the cosplay turned into actually building your persona, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then after, like, I'd say, like, around, like, 2021, I just decided, hey, I'm just going to collect a few more just for the sake of it, which came this mask.
Okay.
Which I still am personally a big fan of, but it's still very hard to, like, put on without it feeling uncomfortable because there's no comforting over here. Or no foam pad.
All right. We'll show the camera so they can see this amazing mask.
I did. Look.
So now, would you like to tell them why we're showing them these masks? Because what are you about to do? What are we going to expand out with these wonderful masks?
Oh yeah, okay. Well, I'll get into that. Finally, here's the last mask. This was sort of, I think this was actually the same time I bought that mask, the 2016 mask, because I thought the design looked cool, but at the same time it felt like a little, so much was going on, and it looked very small in terms of, like, size, as opposed to the 2016 mask.
Gotcha. Okay. So let me set this one over here. So these are all kind of in that same, where you can still be you, and it's literally just covering up a partial of
again,
you.
I would like to say, it's not like an alternate persona. I'm still myself. I'm not on some alternate personality type thing. Sorry for that long pause, by the way.
No, that's okay, because my question then to you as we wrap up this segment is, can you be the same person then with or without this mask?
I'd say I could still be the same person. I could still have the same tastes. I could still have the same ideas. I could still have the same opinions.
So when you're starting this new video clip, talking to other young adult neurodivergent kids like yourself.
Yeah. Okay. My own off-brand social media account where I will just post literally anything, because I'll get into this. Mom has been forcing me to make a social media account just so I can promote.
Well, am I forcing you?
Well, it's more so not forcing me, but socially nudging me to say, hey, you should advertise for the Purple Couch podcast and be relatable. And it's very hard to be relatable in the first place because I feel forced to make content that feels relatable. Like, yes. I have to think about, oh yeah, if I say something, will this make good content? I don't want to think like that. I never want to think like, oh yeah, whatever I say could be used for content to make people feel relatable. I don't never want to do that. I just want to say, okay, if I want to record something, if I want to, like, make something right now where it's probably going to be the most dog shit thing you're ever going to see, I will upload it and I will send it to the social media team, say, yes. Hey, can you do this? Can you do this? And just send this over to, like, a social media account. And I'm going to be honest, I don't know how Mom's going to regret having that decision in the first place.
Well, we got to tell them what we agreed to. So you liked how you were doing the podcast. You liked how you were getting the feedback.
Yes.
And so I told you to build more content.
Yes.
But you don't want any parameters or restrictions on the content that you build.
Yeah, not a timeline, not a date, not like a specific theme. Because if I'm angry right now, I can't just say, oh yeah, hey guys, I'm angry. Like and comment and watch the Purple Couch podcast if you think this is relatable. Because so nobody thinks like that.
Right. So what did we do? We came up with a solution for that, right? And the solution is you're branching off on your own, and you're going to have your own social media content, and you can post whatever you want.
Yeah, inconsistency to hell. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. But what did we do in that? Did you see how we shaped that? So audience, what we did was we took everything. Is that a word? Took, yeah.
Just took.
What we did was we took what Loki wanted to do, how Loki wanted to be out into social media. Because I don't want to do the Gen Xer thing, but what is that account? You want it, the Twitch? Is that what it's called? Where they watch people video when...
there's YouTube, there's Twitch, there's...
Okay, so there's a plethora of different outlets.
Yeah.
And so You started coming onto the podcast because this is a long-term career goal that you've got. So why not give you the exposure?
Yeah.
And so now, because you don't want to worry about upsetting a demographic that watches
Yeah, and
the
I don't want my
podcast.
audience just to be consisting of middle-aged parents that have autistic children and go, yes, little Johnny would really like how this 19 to 20-year-old boy says various curse words online. Yeah, no, nobody's going to be actually interested in that, and it'll ruin your image. So I want to do my own thing, my own content in a sense, still helped by the social media team here.
Yes.
Where I'd be able to upload anything, and that's it. I just want to upload
You just want to be you.
and feel like I'm not forced to uphold a reputation by you.
I love it. I love it. And we're giving you a platform to do that.
Yeah.
So parents, that's the benefit. The benefit of this episode of Loki and I together is to understand that you can have a common goal, but you've got to make sure that you're not taking away the independence and individuality of your child. So come on back. We're going to look at the scientific way of processing what Loki and I just discussed. We'll be right back on the Purple Couch. Masking Manny. We're coming to the couch to continue Loki's conversation about masking. It's funny because I listen to him and I watch him with all his plague mask. And it's funny because if we were having this conversation 2 years ago, I would sit here and say Loki mask a lot to other people because that's when he waits till he gets home to stim. He keeps it all together, but then once he comes home, then it's 30 minutes of dancing, and that's now how he's stimming. Okay. So he's found dancing doesn't cause people to look at him like when he would jump up and down like a butterfly. Sure. And so he can listen to music, and he doesn't listen to music that has words. He likes orchestra. He likes electronic. He likes blends, jazz. He's very eclectic, but he doesn't like the words. Okay. He doesn't want to be led by the words. He likes to be led by the vibration. Go figure, my kid. I debated whether or not I was going to share this. And then I figured, I was like, well, what's the podcast if this isn't the piece as a parent to be vulnerable to share? And I know I'm in great company. So I'm going to bring up masking, but not like Loki did from the neurodivergent aspect. I think what I would like to talk to you about is what we see in our parents. Okay. And more so, as a parent myself, I'll lead by example. We see so many parents publicly. We see so many parents here that they come in, whether they're doing a tour, parent training, or they have a student that comes to, one of our campuses. But they're always there smiling. And that's really not the face. That's the mask. Yep. Oh, yeah. And so I sit here reflecting on Mother's Day. And I did the episode. We talked. Loki was so wonderful sharing, about Mother's Day and how it really doesn't matter about the present. Don't fixate on the present, just the moment. And I'm like, this is going to be great because this is an epic failure in our home, at least for me as a parent. And as a single mom, this is kind of all I have, There isn't a masculine role in the house that's like, hey, Loki, don't forget mom. There's none of that. Right. My sister does what she can, but we have so many families that are in split homes now that even for myself, even after the prompting with Loki, which, you know my kid. So Mother's Day came and went in my home and it was awful. I came back from another adventure trip. I like to call them adventure trips. It's work. You know how that goes. And when I got home, Loki, who had done something for me for Mother's Day, though I was gone for 3 days prior, even though my sister every day the week before prompted every day, didn't wrap it, didn't write the card. And when I got home, he told me, well, I figured you would be too tired for us to celebrate Mother's Day, so we're going to celebrate on Monday. Okay. So then I come into work on Monday, and of course, look what I do for a living. And all my staff, how was Mother's Day? How was Mother's Day? How was Mother's Day? And really, I wanted to go into the corner and cry. Sure. But instead I just, oh, it was great. It was great. It was great. And it was funny because when this episode came up, I'm like, oh, do you share this? And I'm like, I do share it, even though I don't want to. I share it because there's so many parents that are doing the exact same thing.
And so when we talk about masking, right, and we think about behavior, masking has a function.
Oh, yes.
So, you know, we've talked about this in several episodes, and it's true for adult behavior as it is for children behavior. There's usually typically 4 functions of anything, right? So I'm going to ask you, what was your function? Because usually...
Avoidance.
Okay, so we got the 4, right? We got attention seeking. So for masking for attention.
Yes.
We have escape avoidance, masking for escape avoidance of something.
Yes.
We have access to something. So sometimes we mask to get something we want. And then, of course, there's just sensory, which is kind of automatic reinforcement.
Correct.
We do it because it feels good. So in your case...
I was definitely escape and avoidance, both.
So escaping, avoiding...
Escape of the disappointment, avoidance of sharing how disappointed and hurt I actually was. And even deeper for me, I'm an energy worker. So I try to keep my refractory period, not my personality, but into that moment. So I'm like, okay, in all honesty, Sunday after that happened, and I curled up in bed.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, what is that? More escape. Shut my door. I'm going to turn a movie on, put the covers over my head. If I just go to sleep, I'll wake up tomorrow morning and throw myself into work like I always do. Sure. And the escape even now is not wanting to talk about this, is I'm forcing myself to speak about it on the podcast because I think about how many other parents cry in the bathroom, how many other parents are in that same situation. And so many times for me, it's years after years, I go, oh, it's the autism. Oh, it's the autism. He just doesn't think like other people. And so to sit here on the couch right now and reflecting all of that, Loki also got to see because I didn't hide it. I didn't mask it. And I wanted to share that because where we've gone from Mother's Day in May to this episode is being filmed at the beginning of June. So from, 2-3 weeks, that processing time Loki had to be able to actually see that this truly hurt my feelings this year. I didn't mask from my son this time.
Right.
I didn't go to the bathroom and cry. I expressed to him how disappointed. And I was like, Loki, I'm so hurt inside, I'm angry. And he was like, you're mad? And I was like, yes, I'm angry. And he knows because we've talked about the emotional scale and how the energy levels of each one of those feelings leads into the other. And I said, so that should tell you how hurt I am.
Right.
And so for Loki, avoidance, if I shut down on him, that is the worst punishment that he could ever experience. And he's attention maintained. Go figure, just like his mom. So shutting down, avoidance on people that are attention maintained sometimes can make the biggest impact.
Well, and shutting down is another form of masking, right?
Yes.
So where one masking was to escape, avoid, the social kind of situation with your colleagues, your peers, your direct reports, people are outside of you. You didn't mask that to him, but you also showed another form of masking, which is the kind of passive shutting down kind of thing, which he knows what that means, but that was masking for attention.
Yes.
Like for his attention to say, okay, something's
absolutely
wrong.
I love this breakdown because you are right, because that was exactly, I'm basically waving hands here saying, hey, your mom is here. Hey, I built this empire for you, little man. Just a little attention every now and then. But in order to get the attention, sometimes the reserve is what was needed.
And I think it's important when we talk about masking, so whether it's our kids or us as adults, right? The function makes sense. And sometimes it serves the purpose. So for example, to come to work, mask, to escape, avoid that. It was also for you to just be able to manage your day.
Absolutely.
Right? Just like if we're having financial constraints or financial pressures in our life, we don't want to show that to our kids.
Correct.
We don't want them to feel that burden, so we mask it.
Yes.
Right? And so we escape, avoid their pain, their kind of anxiety of something that's anxious to us. We'll deal with that later. Right?
You got it.
But if we're having a spousal dispute or angry at our kid, masking for attention could be passive, right? And so it's going to get the result, right? Because then you'll finally get the kid.
Well, I can
or
tell you, 'cause
whoever's saying what's going on.
I've gone the different route, fiery redhead, This is why there is no. Loki's the same way as his strawberry blonde, because he won't go the redhead route, but he's very vocal on his emotions. You've seen it in the podcast. And he'll be like, well, that's not how I'm seeing things. And we've got in, it was like, well, we're going to agree to disagree. But instead of where typically I swallow it down, just the little bit of expression this time, but with not the elaboration, not the blow up like, this is awful, can't believe you, or let's take it the other way, like many people that I call my loved ones, the passiveness. Yeah. That's also masking there. It's like that jab, instead of saying, hey, I'm hurt and I don't like the way you made me feel, but that, I'm fine. Oh, yeah, sure. Right. Yeah, you are. You're right. You're fine. You've got red eyes and you look like you're about to
Especially
explode.
if you're used to the person being open and being communicative.
Yes.
The last thing you want is to see that person that you know and you care for and you love become passive.
Absolutely.
Become passive aggressive, So they are seeking attention. They're just seeking it in a way that's like, okay, I'm not ready right now to talk about it. But we'll talk
But it's
about
going to come. It's going to come.
Yeah. And I think that's important for parents in general. I think what you're sharing, I think a lot of people can relate to, is that we do wear these masks and they serve a function. So once we understand what the function is, then we can attend to it appropriately.
Absolutely.
If it even needs to be attended to.
Correct.
Sometimes it's probably best to leave the parent or the spouse or the kid to be passive, like give them a break. Maybe, they're not ready yet. Maybe they're trying to escape or avoid the topic at that moment. So it could have been dual function, could have been attention or escape.
Well, we also have to look at our kids, though. As much as our parents do that, as a parent, we also need to be able to spend enough time with our kids to recognize if they are masking. Yep. And I think you and I see that a lot. There's day in and day out. And I think Loki, I'm going to go back to something he said was the gift giving. And he was like, do you even know what your kids are into?
Oh, yeah. For sure.
And we've seen that because in ABA, finding out what the child's reinforcement is very important. And as you know, we can ask parents. Yeah. And we get the deer in headlights that it's kind of like, huh? Right. What do they like? What show do they watch?
I don't know what they
I don't know. How do you not know what your 4-year-old? Because that means we're not spending enough time with the 4-year-old at the 4-year-old level.
Yeah. And then I also hear, I'll share this and then I have a personal story with this. So, a lot of our families, they'll tell us with the young ones, they say, well, my kid jumps from toy to toy to toy. Well, that's okay. That means they like a lot of things. Right. It doesn't mean that they don't like this thing. They like it, but they don't like it for a long period of time. And so they got to get to know their kid. So going back to the masking part of knowing. So it was just the other day, I was home with the older kids and the young ones too. So I had all 5 kids and I asked the older kids, I didn't ask one particular one, but I asked them all to empty the dishwasher. Okay. Well, prior to that, I had asked them also collectively, and the oldest one, the 17-year-old, volunteered to make the dinner for the twins because I was bringing them from daycare. Okay. So I didn't catch this. This was like dad fail. Okay. So my wife told me later. So I asked them to do the dishes. Well, what I heard was the 17-year-old tell the 13-year-old girl, I don't have to do dishes since I prepared dinner for the twins. And the 13-year-old apparently did a look. I didn't see the look. Okay. And the 17-year-old quickly said, oh, don't give me that look. So I thought it was all in jest and fun. They're being teenage girls, whatever. Wrong there, buddy. I was wrong because the 17-year-old was masking her true emotions and true things that I didn't know about because it is summertime in our house. The kids are out of school and they're home alone. Oh, my. All right. So what I learned later was my wife and the 17-year-old had a chat because my wife keyed in on the mask. that it was very passive, very quiet, etc. So she's like, what's going on? Apparently there was some tension between the older ones, and I didn't know about that. And I guess the other ones were rude to her, whatever. So
yes, but that's still
it happens
masking.
all the time.
Your
And
wife was able to pick
she was able
into
to
that
pick up on
because
it,
of the
yeah.
connection and the bond.
Yeah, and it's so important. We have to, because if we don't understand the function, if we don't understand that what she was doing was actually seeking attention,
Absolutely.
like from me to say, recognize something was up, but she didn't want to tell me because she didn't want to cause problems or whatever.
Well,
So-
you're very engaged, though, with your children, Manny. And I say this, and I say this out of love to our listeners and those that are viewing the podcast, that in a world right now that is so filled with high demands, expectations, and pressures, our children are craving our parental attention.
Oh, absolutely.
I see it in the high school, junior high. I see it in the elementary school.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and so many times it's more so in our neurodivergent population because they have been trained from birth to put a mask on, because even though for me and for you, their individuality and their uniqueness is what makes them them.
Absolutely.
But that's because we're very well versed in the neurodivergent population.
Right.
But to a family that are just walking into, my son or daughter just got diagnosed, their expectation of what their brother, sister, sibling, or what the parents without having any other children expect is all based on outside environment,
Right.
not on the individual. And I think that that would be my piece to parents, is that our goal, masking is a necessity at times, but our goal as parents and as caregivers is to ensure that you know the real child.
Right.
And I'm emotional on that because I see kindergartners not being them.
Yeah.
You know, when I have a 5 or 6 year old that moves a pillow and goes, sorry, what are you sorry for? I say that because it's a mirror reflection of myself, because growing up, that's where empathy comes from. You get the empathy because you have to look at your environment. You have to understand what could be coming at you at any time. And that's the hyper focus that our neurodivergent kids do, because they do have outlier physical activity and mental processing. Loki and I just watched The Accountant 2 the other night. It was our movie time. He had never seen The Accountant until last week. And then when I came back, we watched The Accountant 2. And it was so nice to watch his perspective. And I will let you know, when they first, were like, oh, he's got high functioning autism, my son paused the movie and he's like, is this going to be one of those movies? Is this what this is going to be about?
Fair question.
Right, absolutely. But listen to why he says that. Because we've stereotyped neurodivergent, just like The Good Doctor, these shows that are coming up. But it's a stereotype of what an autistic person looks like. Loki loved the movie. When we got done watching it, part 1 and part 2, and I'm telling parents, if you have a neurodivergent child, watch this movie. Yes, there's a lot of violence, but the understanding that there is a place and a need for our children that do think outside the box.
Absolutely.
There is a place and a need for our kids who are vibrating different, that we don't want them to have to mask that to fit the norm, because the norm is broken.
Right.
The norm is why we're in the society of anxiety, burnout, stress, all of these things that we're having to deal with here on the podcast, is because we've put ourselves in a environment of high stress is normal, and if you can't cope with it, you're the outlier.
Right.
I don't want my kids to mask. I don't. I want us to love every single one of those kids for who they are, because if we can do that and initiate that in this age now, then parents don't have to mask anymore.
Yeah, I think it's great advice. It's solid advice. I mean, masking has a function, but the function has to be positive.
Yes.
It's got to be for the right reasons.
So moms and dads, I think that's where I want to end this show today, is understanding that whether your kid wears a mask to go to the grocery store, whether they dance with a mask on in the house, or whether they're just wearing one because they're afraid of letting everyone else know who they are, it's our job to love them unconditionally. And it's our job to know our safety in ourselves by being able to be around people and peers that love and accept us unconditionally as well. So, from our couch to yours, we'll see you again next time on Pam and the Purple Couch podcast. Bye.